Hi everyone, welcome to the Conscious Hearth. I'm Sabine, I will be your host. Well, today we're getting to part 3 of the 60's Babies and Emotions, which I subtitled I'm Fine. And it's exactly how I mean when I speak that or pronounce it. I'm fine. I'm sure you have heard that quite often. Whether it's related to 60's babies or not doesn't matter, but a lot of people say this kind of thing to cover stuff up. And yeah, so today is all about the repercussion of how we are growing up in the 60's, and besides that, we've been taught that we are stronger and resilient people. And yeah, so certainly people think sometimes, well, when you have heard, well, let's say you meet somebody, you're out and about for a walk and you say, hi, how are you? And they say, I'm fine. It's an automatic response, isn't it? So it doesn't really say anything. It doesn't mean the person is fine. It's a kind of a polite or trained thing to say. And it's just a typical answer to cover stuff up, to shut off any deeper conversations, especially with people who are closer to you. And you have to know somebody fairly well to hear the nuances of if there is something wrong, or being very good of reading body language, so to speak. And the I'm fine trap is not only applying to 60's babies and emotions, is generally speaking often used. Sometimes it's just being polite, other times it's not encouraging any further conversation, shall we say, but often enough it's covering stuff up. So now, what are the repercussions from being grown up in the 60's? And how can we break the cycle to moving forward to have a genuine emotional stamina, shall we say? And it's not an easy word to learn. Excuse me. I think we all individually have to find our own way how to deal with things and how best to move forward with stuff. I'm specifically not saying get over something, because that is a very overrated way to say something, especially for me. I have heard that so often from family, teachers and so on, saying get over this, get on with it, and that ain't gonna happen anymore in that way. Again, this is not a blame gaming or finger pointing into the direction of parents and grandparents, because they did their best to their own knowledge and how they've been brought up. So for me it was a very difficult journey, and I was 50 until I actually realized what happened. I was almost like I was living in a kind of a bubble, unaware of the things that happened to me, and how it affected me, my upbringing and my relationships and so on. So when I finally came out of this domestic abuse situation at the time, it slowly through help from social workers, support workers, counselors, group sessions, anger management, all kind of things, you name it. I took part in it and I went through it. At the end of the day, all that is helping really well, but the biggest aha moment for me was that I had to look inside myself to find not only the strengths, but also the healing. I discovered very early when I came out the help of alternative healing, spiritual healing. It doesn't really matter in which direction you go. I started out with yoga, and then I came to like crystal healing and so on, quite a few different things. And over time, and with help from others, and with meditation and analyzing and really listening to myself from the inside, turning inwards to find out what makes me tick, who am I, that made me realize that all the things I was trained and taught in my childhood set me up on the path I was until I was 50, and that it was hard to break that cycle. I mean, if you're 50 years long, a long time, 50 years is 5 decades, and it's a very long time. So everything what you've been teach then, trained in, or experienced then, and you thought is real, it's hard to break that, but it is possible, and everyone has that capability, whether you are having problems because of you were born in the 60s or not, or you escaped something else, other trauma in your life. It doesn't really matter, but it starts with you. You need to make that first step. You need to be the one who ask for help, shall we say, because there is lots out there. And so for me, I've now over time, almost 11 years in the journey of self-discovery and growing my self-confidence and healing. And I learned a lot. And yes, I had crying breakdowns, which are extremely helpful. And it made me stronger, surprise, surprise, so to speak. And I have no problems now showing my emotions either. And yeah, so I also learned that looking different at relationships, and I'm not necessarily talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about friends. You have to discern for yourself which friends do yourself good and which are not. So there are lots of ways to discover yourself. The journey, as I say, is not easy, but it's definitely interesting. You will be learning a lot, not only about yourself, but about others too. You will be happier in your life. And you can't change the past, obviously. That's a misconception. A lot of people think that you can change that. You can't. I think the highest level to reach is to accept these things happened to you. These things are facts. That they're not an illusion, but you have to move forward with your life, and that is the important part. And wherever you go from there, it is very, very important to do that for yourself, for your own growth. And it's really asking for it. So don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anyone else telling you you're not good enough, you can't do that. You can. We are all individual, we are all having different stories. Even if they're similar stories, they're all different in the specifics and the experience. We all feel differently, we experience pain differently. So some people may be quicker in healing, others are taking longer. And it doesn't mean that that's negative. On the contrary, everyone needs the time for their own healing journey, and it's often really to look for the inner child healing. I think that's a very important part of it as well. I've done recently, I think it was a few days ago, there was a little video about finding help in your own community. That goes without speaking, that goes a long way as well. There is lots of help there. I have no problem with anyone approaching me to asking for help, to point them in the direction where they could get help, or if it's just having an open ear and listening. So the conclusion for me is my experience. I learned more resilience, definitely. So part of that from my childhood wasn't actually as bad, because it did make me in a way stronger. All the experiences in my life were life lessons to learn, and as soon as I woken up to it, I took it in my hands and started on my learning journey, on getting better, being content with myself. Sometimes you have to let go of friendships. Obviously, that happens when friends don't understand you anymore, or you discover that people just taking from you but not giving back. Like with any relationship, it really should be about 50-50, so a give and take, and you're giving things without expecting anything back, but you know the people are there for you if you need them, whatever the matter. I certainly discovered that I had loads and loads of friends, and all of a sudden I had 2 very good friends. But until this day I can count on them, and I know they're there for me as I am there for them. So it's an interesting journey. It's hard. It's definitely not an easy feature. However, you can make it, and it certainly will make you stronger. And I would love to hear your story. I would love to hear your experience. If you know someone who has a good story to share or is willing to share their story, I would certainly love to hear from you. And yeah, so that will be it, and that will be the conclusion of that little mini-series about the 60s babies and emotions. So I hope you are doing all well. Have a good day, and I will see you soon. Bye.